You want me to put that on my Tudor?
This One's Wife, The Red Carpet Cowards. Hello, I'm hgtudor. Last night, the Prince of Pink Pancakes and his handler, This One's Wife, attended the ESPY Awards, where Harry was provided with the Pat Tillman Award in circumstances of controversy, given that he is seen as a rather contentious recipient. Ahead of the awards ceremony, there was speculation as to whether the gruesome twosome would turn up, whether Harry would turn up on his own, whether he would do a video acceptance, and whether they might receive a less than warm reception. I anticipated that within the award ceremony itself, were they to turn up, people would politely applaud. It would be unlikely that there would be a muted response or even booing. People are too polite to do so. Furthermore, there are other individuals involved, and it wouldn't want to be seen that they were being disapproved of, getting caught in the crossfire in relation to Harry. Nevertheless, Harry had previously spoken about his sadness in relation to the backlash, and of course This One's Wife's narcissism would have been fully aware of the potential for criticism and even booing. In order to nullify that potential threat to control, it is highly likely that both she and Harry were advised by their relevant people that you shouldn't do any public-facing activity ahead of the awards, and thus they skipped the red carpet. Whilst others on arrival were there to be photographed and perhaps to be seen also by any members of the public that would be waiting outside of the venue, as is typical with film premieres and other award ceremonies, This One's Wife and Harry went straight into the venue, not walking the red carpet. You might think, well, that's rather strange for a narcissist to forego the opportunity to mix it with their public. That surely they would look to avail themselves of the opportunity to flex that facade, to assert control, and to draw fuel from those members of the public and the press that would be gathered outside. Ordinarily, that would be the case, and of course we have seen on other occasions how This One's Wife revels in strutting along the red carpet, rictus grin plastered upon her face, oversized veneers on display, as she drinks in that fuel. For instance, when she appeared as Tomato Lady, the overripe burst tomato dress, there she was grinning like an eckied up Cheshire cat, enjoying all of the fuel, and of course turning over her shoulder when asked, "Are you proud of him?" she issued, "I'm always proud of him." When she was at the awards ceremony, she had to be ushered along the red carpet for she was taking too long at the Jamaican film premiere. She was enjoying being seen on the red carpet, taking in the flashing camera bulbs and the reaction of the press pack and the public. Thus we know that ordinarily this is something that This One's Wife's narcissism draws her to in order to flex the facade and draw in the fuel. However, here, the extent of the backlash against Harry receiving the award was such that her advisors will have told her, you run the risk of an adverse reaction, and therefore her narcissism took heed of that, because that is viewed as a threat to control. It may not have been the case that This One's Wife would have thought ahead. She isn't that savvy, but it's likely that those advising will have taken note of the fact that various public figures had spoken out against Harry receiving the award, the existence of the petition, and general malcontent on social media about him being a recipient. Accordingly, those advisors will have told Harry and This One's Wife, We don't think that it's a good idea for you to go on the red carpet beforehand. There is a risk that you'll face some form of criticism. It might be the case that you get booed, and therefore it would be better if you went straight into the venue. Her narcissism recognises this as a threat to control, and in order to nullify it, goes along with the advice on this occasion, and thus she and Harry run away like a pair of cowards and go into the venue direct. Remember, this one's wife is a mid-range narcissist, which means that she portrays herself as being this kind and empathic individual. Behind closed doors, she's a nasty piece of work towards people, but she's also a coward. Where she faces somebody that is going to criticise her, she's incapable of arguing her position. She lacks the level of intelligence and sharp-wittedness to do so. Despite proclaiming that she's sharp, that she is whip smart, she is not. And she lacks the faculties to deal with any sustained challenge to her. This is why she never embarks upon any forensic examination of her behaviour by way of a proper interview. She simply goes with those which are soft soap ones. Thus, the cowardly mid-ranger that she is, faced with the potential threat to control of a hostile gathering, although there are no reports that there were any, this meant that she scuttled away, like the spider that she is, retreating into the confines of the venue, seeking out more favourable recipients so that she can then assert control over them far more readily. Interestingly, pictures did emerge of both this one's wife and Harry on the red carpet after the event, so that they could avail themselves as a photo opportunity with Serena Williams. This naturally was done when there wouldn't have been any members of the public there, because it was after the ceremony. Thus, any potential threat to control that might emerge as a consequence of criticism or booing or such like would have been dissipated by that juncture. And therefore, it was deemed safe for this one's wife to then venture onto the red carpet after the event, but not before. It is interesting, of course, that an individual who behaves like she owns the world and the universe revolves around her is actually so cowardly. And again, that is part of her narcissism. Certain narcissists are much more aggressive in public. They would drink up the fact that they were being booed if they were a highly provocative narcissist, but she isn't of that ilk. And thus, her narcissism guided her in order to obviate that threat to control by being cowardly and running into the venue instead. Once again, you can understand her behaviours and why she didn't appear on the red carpet by virtue of knowing how her narcissism functions. I'm HG Tudor. Thank you for listening.